Dente, Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And continuing with Dinovember, Permian Killer. So, Permian Killer is on creepypasta.com. It is by Michiel Gilissen? Michiel?
Might be pronounced Michelle.
Michelle, maybe?
Maybe.
Michael, Michelle, if you're listening, let us know so we can properly... Yes. So we can properly get your name right. So we'll just go into the rundown for Permian Killer. Narrator is a huge fan of dinosaurs and prehistoric animals. Has been since childhood. But since the events of the story that they are about to share, they regret ever wanting to meet a living version of one. It started when, working as a paleontologist for a museum, they found some amazing fossil specimens in South Africa of various megafauna from the Permian Age, a time before dinosaurs, when the difference between reptiles and mammals were blurred together. As they are preparing the bones for the trip to the museum, an old man shows up and warns them to leave the fossils in the ground, that disturbing them will disturb the spirits. Narrator ignores them, of course, because that's what you do in these types of stories. At the museum's exhibit, months later, the ceremony is a success, that being like the grand opening of the exhibit night kind of ritual ceremony. But the old man's there, and tries to warn them again about the fossils and stuff. In fact, even tries to steal one of the skeletons.
Successfully takes it from the exhibit.
And damages it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He's taken down by Matt?
Yeah, he's taken down by the security guard named Matt, who is a buddy of narrator. And basically is taken away by police, like crying and warning them that like they're risking everybody's lives here and stuff like that. And then Nair goes back into the hallway for the exhibit to enter PR mode with the guests who were the old man scared. Regardless of that day, the exhibit remained a success for many years. Then one night, Nair and his friend Matt, the security guard who took down the old man, were at the museum late working on projects. When Nair heard a commotion. Thinking it was rats, he investigated and discovered that the skeletons had returned to life, fleshed out and acting as they did in life. The one particular species like bit him and were like small, but a little bit bigger than rats. But and the large herbivore ones crashed through the wall and were now grazing on the lawn. So we get that kind of Jurassic Park moment where like, oh, it's dinosaurs. Na, 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 na. And then Nair remembers that there's a carnivore in their midst, in the shape of a Gorgonopsid. And he knows this, or he realizes this too late when he hears Matt screaming and like a roar. So he rushes to Matt's aid, but too late, as the Gorgonopsid has killed Matt. Quite bloodily, gruesomely.
It bit his head off.
Bit his head off and then like squished his organs, or like spilled his organs out of his chest. Mm-hmm. And so this Gorgonopsid, nicknamed Hades by the museum scientists, seeing Nair as his next target, basically goes into a chase scene with Nair. This chase scene doesn't last too long, as the creature eventually catches up to Nair and pins him to the ground. It then talks to him in a South African accent, that he should have left the bones in the ground before killing Nair. Nair, presumably a ghost at this point, is still talking and concluding the story with saying the museum closed down shortly after, and all the bones got transferred to other museums and facilities, though the Permian skeletons were all missing, and the creatures are now still out there, and at least one of them is hunting. Dente.
Also, it doesn't specifically say that after this point, Nair is a ghost telling the story.
No, but it suddenly it's the only like it makes
it's not first person.
Better sense to me than like
he's not saying it.
Yeah,
it switches to a third person narrator.
Yeah, but I'm saying it like it could go that route, but I like it kind of it could go either way. I think like it's like it was.
There's no more me and my and I.
Oh, is there no?
Anymore.
Okay, let's okay. We'll get into that in afterthoughts. All right. So, yeah, that was Permian Killer. And on to everyone tolerates the Grandma Inquisitions at this point. So, ever since my childhood, I had a huge affinity with dinosaurs and other extinct animals. Right, that was the problem. Okay. I was like, because on the second
I thought
page,
you were just making a statement. Like that's true.
Yeah. Sorry, it was ever since my childhood, I had a affinity with dinosaurs and other extinct animals. So I feel like there needs to be a comma after childhood. So like to break that a little bit, because otherwise it's just like you just keep going. You don't like have any kind of like pace to it. Mm-hmm. My next one. This fascination for these ancient creatures inspired me to study paleontology. So, fascination is spelled wrong. It needs an S.
Well, it could be a fascination.
The fascinating.
I guess fascinated with the facts.
Yeah.
Fascination.
I suppose.
Look it up. It's not a word.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's this one. At one point, I led a fossil hunting expedition in South Africa after the museum got a message from a befriended farmer who stumbled on a fossil-rich sediment layer full of beautifully preserved skeletons of late Permian megafauna upon his land. Ugh. It's a little long-winded.
Yeah. There is a comma at the start that you didn't...
There is actually a comma.
That you didn't actually...
But it's a comma, it's not a period.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you didn't even read it. You went, at one point I led.
Yeah, that's true.
So you would have had a millisecond of more breath.
At the very start, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, sediment is spelled wrong.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Sediment, not Sedemet. E-N-T. And then my next one. Around 250 million years ago. So it just needs a space between 2 and 100, because every other time a number and like 100 are mentioned in the story, it's spaced out, except for 200, because there's 3 instances in the story that 200 is just compact together.
So it's like this story was copy pasted?
Yes. Well, not really, because like it's just the word. Every time like that one that
one word
gets brought up, I guess. But no. On to the next one. The 20-foot-long predator only missed a few teeth, some metatarsals, ribs, and vertebrae, and a part of the lower jaw, but otherwise as good as complete. So it's supposed to be vertebrae. It's just the E and the A are flipped around.
What if they're made of cheese?
No. I just like, I'm not putting up with your shit anymore.
It's entirely possible, though. I'm just saying.
Vertebrae.
Yeah.
Suddenly this becomes a food pasta.
Mm-hmm.
My God, it's the horrid Gorgonzolapsid.
Yeah, there you go.
God damn it, I hate how that worked.
See, you're making it work better.
No! Okay, anyway, moving on. I've got a lot of these, alright? So we've got to move on fast. I was really excited to find all these extraordinary creatures in such a well-preserved state. Alright, so extraordinary is spelled wrong. It's there's an I after the there's
a second I.
Yeah, there's a secondary I at the very end. So it's like dairy, kind of like almost at the end, like with ordinary. My next one, it was a huge success. Huge success is spelled wrong. It's missing an S at the end. So there's supposed to be two S's. That also comes up a couple of times.
Yep.
Even the befriended farmer on whose land we found the fossils was invited to see the results of our hard work. Whose is wrong.
Yep.
It's WHO''S.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be WHOSE.
Yeah. So it reads as "Who is land?"
Yes. Exactly.
Which is the direct sequel of Who is Phone.
Exactly. And then maybe add a comma after fossils just to give a little bit of breathing room. Mm-hmm. Just because it just goes continues on like we've had in earlier sentences. On to the next one. As you go into the exhibit, you'll first encounter 5 Scutosaurus skeletons, looking like they were searching for new feeding and breeding grounds, followed by an impressive Estemnosuchid skeleton, posed like it was a roaring hippopotamus. So this issue I just have with this is possible tense issue. I guess it could be fine if the exhibit is still around, but then it isn't at the end of the story. So, because it's describing when you come into the exhibit, you'll see this and this and this.
It would be you
would see this.
You would have seen.
Yeah, exactly. Like past tense, because we're technically in the past tense right now. Mm-hmm. And as we find out in the end of the story, the museum no longer exists and the dinosaurs escaped.
If you do it too past tense and foreshadow that it's not an actual thing anymore, it kind of ruins the ending where it's saying that shit goes sour and it's not a museum anymore.
Not true. Not if you continue keep past tense the whole time, because it's just part of the story. That's just how the flow of tense goes.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Okay, so on to the next one. The missing parts were reconstructed from clay and were painted in the same deep brownish colors as the Origina fossil. Yeah, sorry. I got stopped at me trying to say it wrong. As the original. No. I keep trying to say. I keep wanting to say it right. That's the problem. As the Origina fossil bones, so they wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb. So obviously, it's just the original fossil bones. It's just missing the L.
Or just this one. They're made of oregano.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, as you stated earlier in Stupid Jokes, this is all apparently the Permian cheese era.
Yeah, it is.
It's actually the
face.
The spelling mistakes work out to make a mean pasta. With your brie, your oregano. I mean, you just have to really look at these mistakes and then you can work out.
Well, as my 4 pages of grammar inquisition show, yes. Actually, I think it's more like 3. Anyway.
It's a hidden recipe.
Yeah. Okay. I was having a blast to see all those excited faces, but that quickly dissipated into nothingness when I saw a familiar face in the crowd. It's supposed to be dissipated. There's supposed to be an I, not an E in dissipated. And then my next one. He runs off with the severely damaged skeleton when I started to chase him. So I think it needs to be he ran off. Because he runs off is kind of in the present tense kind of thing again. Mm-hmm. And the next one, I went back to the exhibition room to apologize to the crowd for the events that just transpired. Apologize is spelled wrong. Because it has 2 P's rather than it should have 1.
Mm. I suppose you didn't pronounce that and go, apologize.
I was trying to do something, but I was how do you say apologize? Because he's extra oomph into the P.
No, you said that with an O, though. It's apologize. That's
Yeah.
extra evidence on the
Okay.
P. Or apologize.
Yeah. All right. On to the next one. What should have been a day of celebrations, it became a day of frights and disappointments. So scrap that the it after the comma, and it's disappointments. It's missing, or it's missing. Actually, this one's missing a P, and needs an extra, and needs to get rid of an S.
Well, clearly the P was taken in the previous.
Clearly, yes.
Yeah. And the S was taken from one of these successes.
Yes, exactly.
That's very true.
Yeah.
You have so many letters to.
Quota.
Yeah.
But yeah, because without that it seems to me it read a little bit better. It's like what should have been a day of celebrations, comma, became a day of frights and disappointments.
Yes.
And then the Dicadont, right? Weird. Okay, the Dicinodont.
So
I knew how to spell this.
Don't.
I knew how to read this earlier. What the hell? The Decynodont.
don't.
The Decynodont? Okay. Yeah. The Decynodont skeleton was so severely damaged, it took weeks to be repaired and presentable again. So repaired in this is spelled wrong. It's like repaired.
Repard.
Oh yeah, repared. Or repared. Whereas it just needs to be like REPAIRED. On to the next one. Despite what happened, the new exhibition remains a success for years to come, and in that time, we didn't hear anything from the crazy old man who had so rudely interrupted our opening day. So just a tiny run-on sentence as well. But also remained, not remains. Add an extra S to the success, again, and interrupted is spelled wrong. It needs 2 R's in the middle, not just one. This, and then my one comment at this point, like as I was doing this, is like this really just needs a once over, maybe 2 of spell check, because like I was like picking up all of these, and I was like, oh my god.
I mean, you cheat and you copy it into something that has spell check.
No, not entirely. Like I was reading through the entire story and picking these up.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you were.
Well, sometimes it doesn't automatically initiate spell check.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Just go.
One evening, however, some of my fellow co-workers and I worked until late to study some of the fossils that didn't make it into the exhibition because they consisted of just a handful of bones or 2 embedded in the rock. It wasn't safe enough to remove without damaging the fossils. A little long-winded. There's no breaks whatsoever, except for that. Again, another comma at the very beginning.
Yeah,
like, after the first 3 words.
Every sentence is only allocated 1 comma.
Yeah, apparently. Also, for me, for this sentence, if you removed however and until, so like one evening, some of my fellow coworkers and I worked late to study some fossils. Blah, blah. Also, safe, not save, because it's actually save in this one. And then to the next one. I was examining a Platyhystrix fossil, a strange sail-backed amphibian. Amphibian.
Yeah, it's amphibian, actually.
Amphibian.
It's an amphibious bean.
It's an amphibian.
Yeah.
I'd like some amphibians next to my steak.
I was going with it's an amphibious bean.
I know, I was just going with like...
Oh, we're just getting more and more ingredients for this salad.
I know, I hate you.
Delicious.
Obviously, amphibian is spelled wrong. There's an E instead of an I at the end. On to the next one. These were more like a monitor lizard's claw marks. I kept following the claw marks until I found a large hole in the wall, which looked like it was gnawed on by some rodent, like a rat or a gopher. So, claw marks need to be 2 separate words. And
I was going to say it is, but that's the second claw marks. The first one isn't.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
And then until only needs one L, not two. So, on to the next one. That's when I heard a loud window crash and walls being torn apart.
She's scared.
Yeah. Apart.
Yeah.
So just one of those pieces needs to be removed. Seems to be a theme with the spelling issues. Just adding extra letters. This was my chance to study the feeding habits of a creature which has been extinct for over 250 years. So 200 is actually not my issue here, although that's one of them. Habits is spelled like rabbits. It has two B's.
Yep.
On to my next one.
Wait, did they have the million years or just 250 years?
250 million years.
Okay.
Yeah. 250 years. My God, it's so ancient. All right. One of them even approached me out of sheer curiosity and rubbed its head very gently across mine like a cat who wanted some attention. So, curiosity is spelled wrong. There's a U in there for some reason at the after the RIO. And then rubbed that W needs to be removed.
It sounds like it's part of a dubstep song.
Yeah. Yeah. On to the next one. Because I'm almost done.
You're almost done reading the story, yes.
Yeah. Basically. But as I was about to pet the curious Scutosaurus, I heard a loud screaming and a viscous roar, which even spooked the Scutosauruses, which I managed to dodge while they were stampeding out of sheer fright. So it's vicious. Remove that extra S in the middle of...
Maybe it is viscous.
No, it wouldn't... I mean,
because it's like bloody and...
Yes and no.
I could be right, though.
You could be right.
On this one.
I hate you for possibly being right.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also, I would add a period to break the sentence a little bit, like between Scutosauruses and remove which to better structure the two sentences. So, like, I heard a loud scream and a vicious roar, which... Oh, yeah. Which even spooked the Scutosauruses, period. I just managed to dodge while they were stampeding out of sheer fright. Because it seemed like it was just like, which, even spooked them, which I just managed to... Like, it was repeating, kind of like the same kind of...
Yeah, but the next sentence is talking specifically about the spooked Scutosauruses. It almost kind of has to be together.
Then, like, it's got to be fixed then. Because
something's got to be changed.
Yeah, because it's...
One thing that has to be changed is starting an entire paragraph with but.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ignored the butts because I knew that Mikey would probably have it covered.
That's true.
He always has those butts covered.
Mm-hmm. Always.
He just likes those butts.
It's the only way to... It's the only appropriate way, really. You have to keep them covered.
Yeah. Moving right along. The ancient beast soon realized that Matt's dismembered remains weren't enough to satisfy its monstrous appetite, and quickly turned its gaze towards me. So it's needs that E in the middle of monstrous needs to be removed, so it's monstrous. That's how you spell it properly. On to the next one. Right, this is my It retooling. So I've actually took a book from yours. Like, I don't hope this won't ruin your It story if you have one. But I corrected the It's in this particular sentence because it was like it needed to be fixed. It needed to be fixed. Even though it wasn't enough to knock out the beast, it was enough to distract it long enough for me to have a head start and find a new hiding spot. So I could think of a way to take care of the Gorgonopsid. So the it's in the sentence could be better replaced with, even though the stool wasn't enough to knock out the beast, the hit...
I'd fight you on that, because it would say stool and then immediately say stool again.
No, the hit was enough to distract it long enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can keep that the last it, but like basically replace the first it with the stool.
That's what I'm saying. Like right before that, it says stool, because it would be hit the beast in the face with a small stool, even though the stool, like,
okay,
your stools would be too close together. You should keep your stools spread apart.
Then the second it then though should be changed to like a hit or something, like with like the hit was enough to distract it, just to kind of like break up the its then in that one. And my last one. Before I could get back up, Hades had already placed his right front paw on my chest and slowly scraped his claws across it, leaving severely bleeding and painful scratch marks. Okay, so this one's kind of a nitpick, but I just feel like just remove severely, because it's spelled wrong anyways, and leaving bleeding and painful scratch marks is just as effective as having an extra descriptor there. Like, it's almost gratuitous.
Yeah, but that's the point. Because otherwise, they could be potentially the depth that a kitten would scratch you.
That's fair. Then if you're going to keep severely, spell it right.
Yeah.
Because it's missing an extra E.
I'm sure that extra E was put elsewhere.
Yeah. And that is the end of my grammar inquisitions. 3 pages.
And the end of your second rundown.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of spelling and grammar issues. And we do grammar inquisitions for a reason. Not sure what that reason is, but we do it.
Because we're trying to make creepypastas greater than what they are.
Yes, we're trying to make them better.
More gooder.
Yes.
Because we English good.
Yeah, clearly. So, Mikey, what do you got?
I feel like before I get into my grammar inquisitions, I need to get into an actual thought.
How dare you? But okay, go on.
So it starts with a quote. After years of studying and researching, I achieved my dream and got a job at the Natural History Museum where I did my internship as head paleontologist. This doesn't seem like it was written by someone.
Because you're an intern that's the boss?
Yeah. Well,
there's no one else in the city that even wants to be a paleontologist, so you're the only one in the city.
It's really just a volunteer job.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, and I mean, doing studying and researching, you wouldn't have as many grammar inquisitions that we came into.
Yeah, obviously, like this story is written by somebody that's not a paleontologist, but probably like wanted to have that for their story.
Yeah. All right. So onwards to my grammar inquisition. The first one is based on the actual names of the dinosaurs.
Okay.
So the quote here is, some of our finds included a group of 5 Scrotosaurus and Estimino. Shit.
I don't have this one written down, so I can't help you unless I
might have
find
this
it.
one written down.
This
is why I did not have them named in my rundown, except for the Gorgonopsid.
Yeah, well, it's spelled wrong anyway.
Yeah.
But it's Estiminosid is what they list here. Several Decinodonts, or donts. Decinodonts. Yeah.
Decinodonts, yeah. Also, yeah, I guess it's Estimnosukid, maybe? Yeah.
Well, yeah. And a beautifully preserved skeleton of a large Gorgonopsid.
I believe Gorgonopsid's spelled right.
Nope.
No, really.
Gorgonopsid should be Gorgonopsia.
Oh, okay.
The plural of Gorgonopsia is Gorgonopsids.
Oh, okay. So the person was basically getting the plural version.
They probably found the name Gorgonopsids. They're like, oh, well, only one of them is Gorgonopsid. Which would make sense. Except, I hate the English language.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Scrotosauruses, I don't feel like the is needed.
Yeah, it seemed like you just need to do like just an apostrophe at the end, because that's sometimes how you deal with S's. Like, with like an S at the end, but like having a possess. Yeah, why is it possessive?
Even with the name of it, like, included a group of 5 Scortosaurus.
Yeah,
Scortosauruses.
But you don't need the...
Yeah, you don't need that.
It's like there's 5 T-Rex.
Or there's 5 moose.
Those meese.
No, it's not.
I know it's not. Calm down. I'm aware it's not. It's just hilarious.
Apparently it's hilarious for me to freak out at it.
Apparently.
Yes. And,
I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about our nation's animal. That isn't the beaver.
Yeah, kind of. Or the Canadian goose.
Alright, and then, Estemenoshid, or
Yes.
Suchid, should be Estemenosuchus.
Okay, so there's a lot of ID, like a lot of D's at the end where there should be just like us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should just be at the end.
And if he was truly a paleontologist, he would know the names of the freaking dinosaurs.
Yes. Well, they're not.
So your immersion
they're
is...
not. I'm sorry. First off, I'm going to stop you right there. They're not dinosaurs, sir. They're prehistoric animals from the Permian age. They're not even proto. They're basically proto dinosaurs because dinosaurs came after the mass extinction of the Permian age.
So you're saying
they're actually reptilian mammals, or like mammalian reptiles.
You just realized that you ruined Dinovember.
You did. This isn't about dinosaurs.
It's about prehistoric. It's close enough.
You just had one side of an argument. We brought that up, and you immediately switched to the other side of the argument. Like, they're close enough. But before that, you're like, oh, they're not dinosaurs at all.
Well,
Yeah, you jumped the fence.
Listen,
there.
man, it was really hard finding creepypastas that had dinosaurs in them,
Oh, I'm
surprisingly.
sure.
So I'll take what I could get.
What'd you say?
Prehistoric animals, that's fine.
Prehistoric animals are dinosaurs to us.
That's a good guess.
Who cares? There, now we can move on with the lives.
Yes. Can we? Can
No.
we really?
alright. Anyway, onwards.
I hope that gave some audience members a chuckle.
Gave us a chuckle, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And I have a front butt here.
Yes.
But before we could leave, an old skinny black man appeared.
Is that the end of your butt joke? your butt stories?
Is that the butt of your butts?
Well, I don't have a butt story.
What?
He's
Well,
never
there's
had a
only
butt
like 5
story.
of them.
Oh, you have a
Maybe.
conjunction junction, though.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah. And I have a front and at the beginning of a paragraph.
I never understand those.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're trying to connect it to the previous one, but you're separating it with a paragraph break. It's weird.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the exhibition was the pride of the museum.
It's just in the middle of the exposition.
Yeah.
Not exposition.
Exhibition.
Exhibition, that's the word.
And then I have a sentence that doesn't end because it doesn't have a period.
It doesn't end?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's the fulcrum.
My God.
I yelled, hoping someone could help me to stop the thief. And there's no
It
period.
just never ends.
Well, then that means it continues to the next one. To stop the thief, my pleading cries were heard by Matt.
Wait, so it just basically doubles. It kind of repetitively says the same thing. Like, I called out for anybody to help me stop the thief. My cries for to stop the thief were heard by Matt. Like, it kind of says the same thing, or it just kind of responds with the same thing.
I mean, it seems worse because I blended them together like they're in the same paragraph.
Yeah.
Because there was a break, but yeah. I just find it weird that Matt's brought up here when he's handy.
Yeah.
He's not a character until you need someone to stop the thief.
Yeah.
Then, Matt, I choose you! And just throws it.
Yeah.
You know?
Security guard Matt, I choose you.
Use tackle! It's super effective.
It was super effective on that poor old black man.
Yeah.
Alright. So next one here, I feel it needs a comma.
Mm-hmm.
When I arrived at the Permian Exhibition Hall, I started to notice something odd. So the commas between hall and I
Okay.
was where I would put that comma.
Cool.
Alright. And the next one is something that I sort of stumbled over, which means it's probably not correct. At first, I thought the rats had injured themselves while trying to intrude the place. So I followed the prints expecting to find some injured rats. So it's the intrude the place?
Intrude, yeah, like, it's like invade the place or something. Or like infiltrate the place. I don't know, like something...
Or just intrude.
Yeah, exactly. That, yeah, the place doesn't even need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed there was a couple of times when I was reading the story where, like again, like the him and his coworkers like working until like late. It was like you don't really need the until. You just like you're working late.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a front by the beginning of a paragraph.
Probably the one I read. Or was there a second one?
Well, there's two. Which one did you read?
I don't remember. Go ahead.
This was the one that I read, which was, but as I was about to pet the curious Scutosaurus.
No. I marked that one. Cool. But as I followed the footprints, I noticed that they also left behind claw marks.
Ah. Yep.
And then I have another front up paragraph, which is, but before I knew it, Hades found me again.
All right.
And then I have one more front butt here. But before I could get back up again, Hades pinned me to the ground and crushed my spine in the process.
Yep. But I got knocked down. But I got up again. Never. Oh God, my spine!
Yeah, he did not get up again.
No.
Alright. And then I questioned if I had an it story or not, but I didn't add that sentence that you had.
Yeah.
So, I believe yours is actually at the end of the story.
Yes.
So if you want to pipe in after I've labeled the its, then I'll have an it story.
What? Oh, so I gotta add that into while you're doing your it story?
Yeah, at the end of the it story.
Oh God, where is it?
So much pressure.
Hang on, where is it?
Like the furious, like rustling of paper as you're trying to find it.
You're really not that productive.
No, it's not.
What the fuck is it?
You maybe should have called this out. Like,
Yeah.
remember where that is for future reference, by the way.
I didn't think I was doing this.
Should be doing
Okay, found it. Okay.
And now, an It Story with Mikey, the E stands for evil, featuring Review Cultist. Take it away, Mikey.
It was a huge success. It was the old man who approached me back in South Africa when we were about to leave for home, only he looked older, angrier, and more upset. It was a Dinosaurs.
Even though it wasn't enough to knock out the beast, it was enough to distract it long enough for me to have a head start and find a new hiding spot so I could think of a way to take care of the Gorgonopsid.
Okay. So the start of it is like, it was a huge success. It was the black man. Like, he's this huge success. So that's nice.
And then the black man turned into a Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then it knocked out the Gorgonopsid to help our buddy here escape.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. So that's the end of your grammar positions.
Yes.
All right, Gamer, what do you have?
Nothing. I only had one, and you
fair.
got it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was the rub.
Yeah. Moving on to actual thoughts then. Series like Jurassica on the Discovery Channel, Walking with Dinosaurs, and spin-offs Walking with Beasts and Walking with Monsters on BBC, and Prehistoric Park and Primeval on ITV. Movies like Jurassic Park, Dinosaur, and even Land Before Time. I watched them all, or at least as many as I possibly could. So, my childhood.
You see all those things?
Yeah, basically, like this guy's
you
childhood
are
of
there.
This character's like childhood is like basically my childhood because I was huge into dinosaurs and still am. Hence why we're doing Dinovember.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like basically this is like alternative me who gets eaten and killed at the end. And then on to my next one. In case you're not familiar with the Permian megafauna, at this point in Earth's history, life on Earth was at the verge of the greatest mass extinction event the planet had ever known. So, as I was reading this part, I almost thought that this story's title was going to be a twist, and that the story wasn't going to be about a killer from the Permian Age, but in fact be about the Permian Killer, like the mass extinction event. That wiped out most life on Earth during the Permian era.
Well, like a reoccurring version
And
of it in the
it
real...
was, and it isn't, the story doesn't go that route. It goes with like basically just like ghost dinosaurs, or like these creatures coming back.
Mhm.
But I think that there could be a really interesting like nugget here for a story where like, yeah, it's like the person discovers like some information that leads like the paleontologists discover like approaching another extinction event, like the Permian extinction. And like, so it's kind of like giving you the existential dread and like horror of like, we're about to, like life on the planet is about to change forever and like be extinguished.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's pretty interesting.
yeah, and it would have been a nice, it would have like tied in with the, like calling it Permian Killer would have been like kind of like, cause when I read Permian Killer, I was like, okay, so it's going to be a creature like a predator or something like that from the Permian era coming back or something, or attacking our character. But then I started thinking, it's like, what if it was like Permian Killer as in like the thing that killed everything in the Permian era?
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one I have. The idea of having an exhibition of life in the late Permian sounded tempting, and not many museums have exhibitions like that. So after months of preparation, we arrived at the quarry. I thought it was a farm. To its credit, I guess this could be a quarry the farmer owned on his land.
Or the farm turned quarry because it had to get so far deep.
Or it could just be a quarry in that it's an excavated site, like not like a quarry, like as in like a giant sand pit, like we have.
Yeah.
Like,
Do they refer to dino extraction areas as quarries?
I actually maybe I'm not 100%. It's been a long time since I looked up stuff on like paleontology. Probably about as much as this person. But yeah, I think like their dig site, like it is technically a dig site, which is also what quarry is kind of by definition. So yeah, it could just be that. And then my next one,
maybe it's using the word quarry like as in like my enemy, like,
my prey.
Yeah,
my quarry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably
not.
Probably not at all.
In a heavy South African accent that I will not be
because you don't know how to reproduce
because
that
I don't want to be offensive. He said, "Please, I beg you, leave these fossils where you found them. You'll disturb their spirits. If their remains are to be removed, their restless souls will haunt you." Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Ghost dinosaurs, oh my god. Well, technically, ghost para-reptiles or megafauna from the Permian Age. But I'll take it. But I'll take it. And it's funny because I've actually been working on a similar idea into a Little Fears mini campaign with the guys from Role Playing Exchange. It's actually going to be those episodes. I've actually been recording scenarios with them about it. It'll actually probably get posted sometime in like in the new year. So look for that. And I just like, it was just apt because I've been working on like the last end of the tail end of that campaign. Mm-hmm. And then reading this was like, oh my god, ghost dinos. So on to my next one. When I realized that detail, I rushed to the Permian exhibit. And to my shock, the Dicynodont display was empty. Did the fossils come back to life? No, it couldn't be. What was going on? Was that old man right about disturbing the spirits while we excavated those fossils. So this part is just like, I feel like this introspective thought revelation doesn't really need to be said, mainly because it feels like a bit of repetition after like it just feels like it's just kind of hammering a little too much the fact that like the dinosaurs come back to life, like, and it's not done in a way that like it could like it kind of just plays out in the story like there's no way of like, is this actually a thought process or is this just like what the writer's writing down?
Yeah.
Like, it either needs to be some kind of distinction that this is like a thought process going through the character's head, or this just doesn't really need to be here because it's just hammering home what we already know.
Well, the whole thing's a first-person perspective, so any not spoken word has to be going through his head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Until he dies, and then it goes to a third person.
Or he's a ghost, which is kind of what I like about that idea.
The thing you're missing is that it's actually a revelation for the character, because years have passed since the opening of the exhibition, and it's just like,
just now.
Oh man,
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really like. It does say, I think at one point, years pass, like, and the exhibit goes by quickly, or like the exhibit is a super success. But then it like, I don't know, just the way I was reading it, it didn't seem like there had been years going by.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like, because like they were talking about like, oh, they were excavating that's one skeleton, like the Pytho something. The one fossil they were like, the reason why they were up late working on it, and the way they were like they say they were like working on it, it was almost as if it was like a couple of days later, like after the opening. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just seemed like it seemed like the whole like the continuity in this is a little skewed because like it says years go by of like success, but then like they're still working on parts of the exhibit from that dig site. And, like, it just seemed like it wouldn't take years for them to get to that. But again, I'm not a paleontologist. I just studied for it once when I was younger.
Well, it's just like anything else. Everyone thinks that everyone else's job is easy.
Yeah.
Until you do it, it's like, oh, this is actually really difficult.
Yeah. This would actually take like much longer or something. On to the next thing. As my brain freezes over.
Alt F4. Control, delete, restart.
Again, I ran as fast as I could. Being chased by Hades was like being chased by a grizzly bear that had the agility and stamina of a Siberian tiger. So you're saying that you shouldn't have survived? That's what I'm hearing. Is that you
He didn't. He died.
At this point, I was reading. I was like, so yeah, it's just like the way, like it just seemed like I guess it was leading up to that, but it's just like what he says, like I started running again as fast as I could. Being chased by him was like being chased by this really super strong thing and this really powerful fast thing. It's like, so you're saying is you got caught really easily?
Yeah.
And again,
he was playing with him.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It could have really caught him quick, but he was enjoying just chasing this guy. That's the way I saw it.
That's fair.
But he's thinking like, oh, I'm just barely getting away. Whoa, I'm beating him. But no, not at all.
Yeah, and my next one is going to be tying into my thought at the ending of like my headcanon is that this is like the ghost is actually like been writing this down and posting this somewhere. You should have left us in the rocks when you had the chance, but you just had to dig us up. Hades spoke in a clear and terrifying South African accent before making a final roar and tearing me to shreds. Wow, I wasn't expecting a ghost story in this story, like in this. Like this, I think this is our first one. Maybe aside from Skyrim Secrets 2, but I'm not counting that one.
Is it a ghost story or is it South Africa voodoo magic? Because the creature speaks in the accent of the black guy.
So he's saying that the black guy resurrected them.
Yeah. And is in control of them.
See, I don't think that's the case. I think it's like straight up like I think the black man was just like kind of just trying to warn them like not to disturb the spirits. It's like in Poltergeist when they built that suburb over a graveyard and they just removed the tombstones. Like they disturbed the skeletal remains of the graveyard. And that's what caused the supernatural activity. it's not like any kind of doing of like a voodoo priestess. Also, I think that's more Jamaican. I don't think it's actually African. Like I don't think that I'm not 100% if voodoo is actually from Africa, like straight. But
his words that he's using, it doesn't matter if they're accurate or not to what they're like, what they did.
Yeah.
Those traditions there. What he's saying is the skinny old guy is he essentially put a curse on them or something to resurrect them because he didn't like that they were taken.
Yeah, and I just don't. It's never really said in the story like that. There's like he put a curse. Like he's not really aggressive outside of like he's actually like he's been trying to warn them the whole time about like against like pulling them out of the ground and like tries to remove them from the museum like by taking one of the skeletons. I don't think it ever really kind of insinuates that he like put any kind of curse or any kind of like threat against them.
Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay, well that needs to be added in the story. Like that's an assumption. And actually, it's not even an assumption. It's like grasping at threads.
I don't think the English language or like that accent was around back in the time of the dinosaurs. Just saying. So
okay,
if it was just that dinosaur coming back to life, he wouldn't be able to fucking talk.
They're already ghosts. So like, what the fuck? Like, who knows what they can do? Like, they're already the supernatural shit. So, but okay. So, a witch doctor kind of thing going on.
Yeah, basically, he warned them. They didn't heed the warning, so he
cursed them?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had like a medallion on his hand, and when he went to grab the one thing, it like, and like, it was invisible and silent.
Clearly.
But it
the audience saw it, except the reader didn't because they didn't put it.
He was like, "Oh, he's taking it," and he didn't notice because or he left something there when he grabbed it.
And it only took a couple of years for it to activate.
Yeah, it takes a long time to work, but it worked. That's all that matters. He's playing the long game.
Yeah,
it required an actual ghost to activate, so the black man in the story had to die of old age.
So it was like a death curse. Like once he died, it triggered the. It's a dead man's curse.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really buy it, but all right. You do you, guys. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I'm gonna go. This is my actual thought. My actual thought time. My working theory is that it's like the guy was killed, and now he's a ghost haunting like the ghosts of these dinosaurs or these proto-dinosaurs, and he's apparently just writing the story and then posting it online to like warn people of that because like this thing they were never found, so they're still out there somewhere.
Because they went back home.
Yeah, they walked across the ocean back to Africa
under the water
or above it. They're ghosts. They're ghost dinosaurs with like with like empowering skeletons. They can probably do what they want.
Maybe.
So, but yeah, I guess that's the end of my actual thoughts. Is like, I didn't actually expect it to end the ghosts story, which is how I kind of took it. So, Mikey.
All right. So, my thing here for my actual thought that I've left is that most museums that have the whole dinosaur skeletons and whatnot, those skeletons are replicas.
Yeah, most of them are casts.
Yeah. Because they don't want people touching actual fossils.
Yeah, not just the majority of them are. I mean, again, like this story does go with like they do make replacement bones basically to fit in like the gaps. But yeah, most of the time it's just like those aren't the actual bones that are like on display
because they're worth too much.
Yeah. So most of what was found at the dig site would be behind glass, or there'd be a replica that would be there. So the old man taking
the gopher dinosaur one,
it would have just been a replica. And yes, he would have been stopped because you're not supposed to take things, but it wouldn't have had that big of an impact on the ghosts.
Because the ghosts wouldn't have... possessed that. They would have possessed the shit that's in the back,
Not
in the back room.
necessarily. The ghost probably came from the bones in the back, and then they found a facsimile, like a complete facsimile of their original bodies, which was the cast one. So they technically, what we're looking at is a golem situation where a spirit has like possessed basically an inanimate object. The inanimate object being something that looks like a complete version of their bone structure, and so they can use like otherwise like how are they? Although that would actually be a really cool like visual of like incomplete dinosaur bones, like an incomplete dinosaur skeleton, but like moving around like
it's not just skeletons walking around though. They fully get meaty and everything. So if they can summon all that, there's a couple of missing parts in the bone structure. It'll just summon that too.
Yeah, that's true.
The long and short of what he's saying is there wasn't enough research done about the displays and whether or not that's the actual bones or not.
Yeah, and we already kind of figured that because like just the way this person wrote how to like paleontology works.
Yeah.
It was like kind of
it's like if you wrote it in high school.
Yeah, like not quite a layman's like knowledge, but like they did like a school project kind of thing.
Yeah. They watched all those shows and then just decided to make a story based off those shows.
Which is admirable, which is fine, but like you need to do a little bit more research.
Yeah. You can't just watch the shows and be like, oh, research done.
Yeah. It's like our issues that have gone back since the beginning of this show, with people not doing enough research with cop procedures and stuff, like police procedures and stuff like that. You need to know a little bit more about that if you're going to incorporate make it seem like a legitimate investigation.
Yeah, so that's about it for my actual thoughts. Because I've piped in on a couple.
That's fair.
Alrighty. Before I start mine, I just want to mention something. It's not really a grammar thing, but it's to do with creepypasta.com and the freaking 12 ads on this 8-minute creepypasta. Like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
It's more than 1 minute per ad.
I have started like I try not to grab stuff from creepypasta.com lately because of all those ads. Like, first off, my home computer cannot take it.
Really?
Like it slugs. Like it gets so bad where like I try to like move the cursor down, and it's like 5 minutes later it then moves slightly down.
Jeez.
Like those ads are hampering anybody enjoying a story on that site.
Yep. It's like you read like 2 paragraphs, there's an ad. 2 paragraphs, there's an ad.
Yeah. And I mean, I get it. Hosting bills need to get paid, but there's got to be a fucking better way.
I mean, this is on the mobile version. On the actual one, is it in the middle?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're like when I copied and pasted like the story so I could like
bring ads too.
It brought in like all the ads too. Like I had to delete all those.
Jeez, brutal. It needs to be like in a sidebar.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a side note of my annoyance.
It's really just a criticism of creepypasta.com.
Just ads in general. Yeah. When they're obstructive, they don't make me want to purchase that item. It makes me want to avoid that item.
Yeah, always. 100%.
It's because it's so annoying. Anyways, moving on to actual notes here. So the dicodomes were posed like modern day prairie dogs, making them especially popular with the kids. To me, when I first read that, I thought that was a weird choice of a pose, because when I did a Google image search on what they looked like, they were like these big ass hippo things like this, where it's like
apparently they're
bigger than a human.
Big. Oh, are they bigger? Oh, wow. Okay.
Based on this image search, I'm like, why are they posed like prairie dogs? But then I looked into it a bit more, and the Dicynodont, it's not one dinosaur, it's a group of dinosaurs, a large group of dinosaurs. And
it's a family, like a genus family, like
pretty much.
Yeah, it's like the basically it's like theropods are basically the family that T-Rex, Allosaurus, like all the basically the bipedal carnivores that we love in movies and stuff all come from.
Mm-hmm. So it's like referring it to that.
Yeah,
but I did a little bit more research, and on the wiki, there's literally a picture of one type from that family poking out of a hole. and it's the so it's like the Dicynodon isn't a specific dino; it's a family of dinos. The ones that were posed like prairie dogs are probably it's a new dinosaur name. Dictodons. It has 2 eyes in it. It's weird. But the image is like literally like a little dinosaur poking out of a little hole. So, as I'm showing you guys, what you guys at home cannot see.
Yeah. For the ones at home, picture a like prairie dog crossed with a lizard with like small saber tooths.
Yeah, pretty much. Just Google Dicynodont.
Yeah.
Go on the wiki page. It'll be there.
So what I'm getting is basically like the person didn't really get the proper name, the names right, like for the dinosaur or the proto dinosaurs that were here, and then in one case they just gave the family name.
Yeah.
So maybe like unless it was like some like unknown species, but like that should have been brought up in the story. If it was like an unknown, they didn't know what kind of dicynodont it was. Dicynodont it was.
Dicynodont. Yeah. Like, so, it is a Dicynodont, but not all Dicynodonts are that specific one.
Yeah, there's big ones and small ones. Yeah.
Well done. You found the 4th issue with the creatures in the story based on that one sentence, because I was like, I didn't find anything for the Dicynodont.
Well, there you go. Now they're all fucked up.
Yep, so he really didn't do his research.
And I found a cute image as a result of it.
It is pretty cute.
It is.
I might have to make that in the title card. Just like have one of them just like poking out. Like,
yes.
And we're all just like, oh. As like I'm getting mauled by the Gonopsid. Or the Gonopsis.
Probably. Seems about fair. But that's like an actual model somewhere, probably at a museum or something.
Also, Gorgonopsid, not the Gonopsid.
Yes,
Gorgonopsis.
Yes.
Or Gorgonopsia, or...
Gorgonopsoid? Sid? Yeah,
Gorgonopsid is the...
I was going to call him Sid.
Yeah. Why did they name him Sid? Why did it be named Hades?
Which blends really nicely into my next one. The highlight of the exposition, the giant Gorgonopsid, which we nicknamed Hades after a Greek god of the underworld, came back to life. My only answer is why.
Why'd you name him Hades?
Or just why name him at all? But yes, thinking about it...
The nickname thing actually is something that museums do.
Do they?
They do nickname their dinosaurs.
I suppose.
Yeah. And it's Gorgonopsia.
Yeah, Gorgonopsia, yeah.
This one says Gorgonopsid, though.
That's wrong. Or you mean like the...
Oh, okay. The one you read is not the one that's in the creepypasta. No, that's what it's supposed to be actually called. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. His names are complicated enough. I'm reading them as they were in the story.
Yeah.
I'll call that one Sid from now on, though. So
it seems like a better name too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even though the name is wrong, so he wouldn't actually
or
be
George
called Sid.
Or Gorgon.
Well, I was going to go with
and name him after the Gorgon.
Yeah, I was going to name him Gorgon, but like
or Gordon,
or just name Gordon. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Or Medusa.
There's a lot of names. Anyways, moving on. Yeah. The last thing I saw was the gigantic head of the predator staring at me with a ferocious look on its face, and suddenly his mouth made speaking motions. You should have left us by the rocks, or in the rocks when you had the chance, but you had to dig us up. Blah 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 blah. My opinion, this turned kind of silly right at the very end. Like, it was clear as day that the old man's words were true, and having this creature strip talk in English to Nair is just hilarious to me.
I feel
in his place, I would have if I was pinned underneath this thing and this thing started talking to me, I would actually crack a smile and laugh right before I died, because that's hilarious.
I feel like if you want to go stop it from being as silly with the dinosaur talking, because at that point it's like, is this a hallucination? Or have it like that those basically have the old man's words pass through our narrator's head,
like him remembering.
Him just coming in super vividly through his head, the words that the man said as he was getting pulled away.
Or have the old man in the doorway standing there and be like, "You just had to dig him up, didn't you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Something other than the dinosaur talking. You know what it is? It's a I forget which Jurassic Park it is.
Jurassic Park 3?
Yeah.
Alan. With the raptor, with the raptor, which was also a dream sequence.
Yeah.
It's just Alan.
Okay. Alan. So we figured it out. It was a dream sequence all along.
So
Sleep paralysis and aliens.
The guy's not actually dead.
Yeah.
Huh?
So the guy's not actually dead.
Yeah.
He just wrote this story. He was like, see, yeah, this story.
He's actually a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
This is just
The whole story. Is
Yeah.
just- yeah. No, I was thinking like the story could have actually ended with him like waking up the next morning like he's passed out at the museum, and then he writes this down and posts it. Like he quits his job as a paleontologist because he's gotten too like weirded out by the stream, and just basically like gives up his life as a paleontologist. Like that's where the story could have gone, that route. I like how we found like we had like 3 different ideas on like how the story could have ended.
It's very weird. It's because it's not very clear in what happens, so we have to jump into interpretation, right?
Yeah, and that's fun.
But yeah, I just thought it's silly. I would die in that situation too, but at least I would die happy.
I would not I this is our difference between us. Like I'd be like still terrified. I'd be like, "Why are you? Oh God!"
Yeah.
It would be less like me smirking and me just like, huh?
I'd be like, and you'd be like, huh?
Yeah,
It's very different, but still. Here's moving on. Hades spoke in a clear and terrifying South African accent, blah, 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 blah. And then it's talking about how, like, this is the end of the story where it's first person.
Yeah.
Where it's clearly first person, at least. It tears me to shreds and all that. I find the narrative direction kind of odd in this because I want to think that there's a reason this pasta is available to read, and it makes it feel weird that the narrator is narrating his own death.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like it's a ghost of Nair wrote all this up.
Which is the way I took it.
Yes, of course. But I think it would work better from a different perspective.
Okay.
Like if it clearly switched, like
To the Gorgonopsis.
yeah, why not?
He's already talking.
Yeah, so he can operate computers. Why not? Yes, but yeah.
Sorry, for the audience at home, because I'm doing a visual gag. I was just like mimicking like a dinosaur, like using two claws to like type on a keyboard.
Hey man, I watched a chicken play the American national anthem on a piano today. Or yesterday.
Really?
Yes.
I have so many questions.
Right.
Like, why were you looking up video on a chicken?
I was eating food with my dad. Like, I'll look up shit on YouTube. It just came up in my suggested things in regards to animals.
Fair.
It was animals trying out on America's Got Talent.
Nice.
Anyways, moving on. But yeah, the ending switch just felt weird to me. I mean, you really liked it, Cultist, because of the whole the ghost story thing.
I've actually, and it's mainly because like I've been like wanting there to be like a ghost story, like where the character dies and he's still talking, and because we find out it's the thing that we had at the Tale of Robert Elm, where like. Mm-hmm. Mikey just blew it out of the water, like made that story so much better by by having it like suggest that like the guy was a ghost the whole time, and just like woo.
And I like that, but this doesn't do that. It just kind of keeps going, but it doesn't say it in a way where it's like he was a ghost the whole time.
Yeah, it doesn't say that, but it left, for me anyway, it left me like, it's like that's the only rationale I could come up with without ruining the story.
Yeah, to me, it's essentially like the entire story is through that guy's eyes, and then like he's on the ground getting pinned by this thing, and he dies, and then the camera pans out, and then it's a narrator talking. You know,
exactly. Yeah,
that's the way I saw it, at least. But yeah, that's about it for my notes.
Okay.
Also, I found a picture of a Gorgonopsid, or at least one of them.
I know exactly which one. Yeah, it's basically like a dog with a T-Rex head.
Honestly, it's like a tiger.
Yeah, a tiger. Yeah.
Or like a cheetah.
I'm thinking of the other one. Like, there's actually another type of Gorgonopsis from Russia, in Transevia or something like that. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong.
Probably.
Future me.
It's Inostransevia. At least I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
Thank you.
How do you have that power?
Because I'm the editor.
Oh, that's true.
But basically, that one is like more of like basically if you have like a wolf dog kind of thing, like, or like a big like muscular like mastiff kind of thing, and then gave it like that thing's head, like a T-Rex head with like saber teeth.
Yeah.
And it's just so awesome. Like, I wish those things existed, except we're domesticated.
Oh, of course.
Clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
So like house hippo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Or the North American I can't spell
The
it.
Synodont?
The Synodont.
The Synodont, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though that's an entire family, it's
Yeah,
not
I
the
know.
actual name.
What is the name of that?
I have pictures. I can find it easy.
All right.
It's Diictodon.
What was the last after the T?
Odon.
Odon. So the
It's like
Dictodont or Dictodon.
How'd you do double I's?
Dictodon? Dictodon?
Because it'd be Dictodon if it was DICT. So it'd be die, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I don't know.
Dictodon. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, the Dictodon. The North American House Dictodon. Anyway, so
that's it for my notes.
that's it for the notes. That's it for the actual thoughts. On to final thoughts. So it's got a lot of work to do on like grammar and spelling side. Like the story needs a couple of runs through like editing to get to like make, because like I was reading it and I was like, I was being pulled out every time we had a spelling issue, but I still got through it.
I was kind of like, not to jump in, but I'm jumping in.
But Beyonce should have won.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When I read it, all the like typos and shit, they're all so minor that I read over all of them. The only one I got stumbled on was the rub, because it was so like drastic, but all the other ones, just like, it needs an E here. It shouldn't. It needs one more S there. They're also minor.
Yeah, well, they're also minor, but there's also so many of them.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't need to be fixed. They still need to be fixed, but compared to other stories, where it's just a mass of like stuff that's
like we're a page,
actually
we're
disruptive.
A small page, like a single page of content. I'm looking at usonic.exe.
Yeah.
Or not Sonic.exe. Not Tails.exe. Was it Tails? Which one did we do that was like really short but like really annoying? Spyro.exe was like not even a page, but it was so unreadable.
Yeah. It's like stories like that and a lot of other ones, it's like you're walking down a trail and there's constantly trees in the way.
Yeah.
Spilled water over myself because I was doing a falling tree action with my arm. There's constantly like trees in the way.
Yeah.
Where there's like a bunch of twigs in the way. Like you kind of have to kick over them a little bit, but there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of roots.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. There's roots you gotta like look down a little bit and like watch your step.
Yeah.
That said, I do like the concept and some of the delivery of this ghost story. This is how I'm taking it, involving prehistoric animals brought back to life because their remains were disturbed. Again, it's got a very kind of to me. It had a very poltergeist vibe. I was like, you didn't take the bodies, you just removed the headstones, kind of thing like that, or like it's the Indian burial ground being disturbed, kind of thing like that. Kind of.
Is it cliche then?
Not really. It's just it's a trope that's well worn, but not to the point of like excess. Especially with the fact that it's dinosaur bones, like because you don't see that in like a lot, like dinosaur bones like invoking their spirits. Like that's kind of cool. It sort of prods the question of morality on museums removing and displaying dead things from like their resting place. But unfortunately, like that's kind of what it invokes, because that kind of moral thing. Because I know that's a huge, like that is actually a big moral commentary with museums. Is like they're displaying and like they're there to like help us understand our past better. But like on the same side, on the other side of that coin, they are effectively grave robbing ancient cultures and ancient life form, like ancient beings, and like. Not from a religious standpoint, they are allowing them to rest. Like so, even like for dinosaurs, like even for like things like all things should deserve like some kind of respect after they die. But like at the same time, if we don't,
like, except if they're cool, and then you have to put them on display.
No, not just that. Like it's just like if we don't like we need like our humans have like such a need of understanding. We have a need to understand our past and like our heritage and stuff. Like, otherwise, we're doomed to repeat things. So like,
would we think it would be all right if a million years in the future someone dug you up?
No, exactly. Like that's the standpoint. Like that's the moral conundrum of this of museums is like that exact thing. It's like what right do we have to open
when the lizard people in the future dig us up and put us on display?
Exactly.
Will that be all right?
Yeah.
But the question is, did dinosaurs have religion?
I mean, their brains were the size of a peanut or something, weren't they?
Yes, but they still had two. They also had two brains.
So 2 peanuts.
Yes, but also
they're animals.
Yeah, they're also animals, and so I mean, like if you go by even some like some of the like current religions and some of that do say that like all animals have a soul, or like all animals like have as much of like have a spirit of some kind. Maybe
yeah,
not
but
a soul, like
that's from our religion that we're putting
yeah.
onto the animal.
Exactly.
If some of the dinosaurs were seen like using sticks as weapons, then maybe they were smart enough for that.
Yeah,
but they're essentially animals.
There were the working theory that like if some dinosaurs hadn't gone extinct, like if an asteroid hadn't hit Earth, or like the Earth hadn't been wiped or anything like that, we may not be the dominant species on the planet.
No, we would be dinosaurs. We would be lizard people.
We wouldn't be. We'd be dead, or we wouldn't exist.
No, we would have,
because we wouldn't have gotten the chance to evolve.
In an alternate present, it would be a different evolution, and we would be essentially scalies or furries or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
And then it would be weird for others to be like a hairless monkey. Ew, that's weird.
I guess. All right. Anyway, I'm moving. I'm jettisoning from this train of thought.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, like I like the moral conundrum there, like that it presents, even though it kind of just like skims past it a little bit. Unfortunately, the writing for me hampers this a fair bit. So I think I might only partially recommend this for the concept it brings forth. It just needs a bit more work to be a guarantee. So that's kind of my recommendations. Is like I like the concept, but the execution falls flat because of like how little, like again, like all the mistakes the person made for like on the paleontology side, like on the information side, and then all the spelling and grammar issues. Like it just needs to be worked on a little bit more. So, Mikey, what do you got?
Well, it's sort of the same idea. Yeah, the same thing is that the idea of ghost dinosaurs,
because that's cool,
is good. But the story needs more work.
Yep.
And just thinking about the story, it sort of reminds me of the movies Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where they literally have, was it the T-Rex?
That acts like a dog.
That acts like a dog, yeah.
That one actually, I think in the Night at the Museum, the magic that does it is because of an ancient Egyptian like relic or something, or artifact.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And if you notice, even like the wax statues of like main character, of like Amelia Earhart and like not John Wilkes Booth, whatever Robin Williams character played, he was like Roosevelt maybe. Like those aren't like there's not like skeletons like of people in those. They're just basically it's simulacrums are like basically animated. It's like the Indian in the Cupboard movie where like you put a toy into into the cupboard and then like open it and like lock it, then unlock it and open it up, and it's something alive. And like the kid did that with like Darth Vader, a bunch of like soldiers, and then a Jurassic Park T-Rex, and then like you opened it up and they were animated like there. But yeah, definitely got some idea, like got some vibes of like Night at the Museum. Mm-hmm. Weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, again, the idea is good as an idea, but the execution here is sort of lacking.
Yeah.
For me, again, I'm going to parrot you guys. The idea of ghost dinosaurs is neat. I like that because it's cool. Everyone, who's going to say ghost dinosaurs? Nah, I don't like that. You know.
Yeah, seriously, Steve.
Yeah, Steve. Get your shit together. Anyways, and I didn't look as deep into it as you guys did, so I didn't notice all the flaws in what you would and wouldn't do in paleontology and the name situations. I figured out afterwards based on my searches. But because I didn't look too deep in it, I took most of it at face value. So where you guys were walking through the forest, it's covered in sticks, but you're walking barefoot.
Yeah.
I'm wearing steel toe huge boots. I'm just crushing through them. It doesn't matter, but I know they're there. That's essentially the difference.
And then there's just one that poked through the steel boots and got you.
Yeah. It's the dinosaur talking. It legit ruined it for me. I'm sorry to say, it really did. If there was no talking dinosaur, if I just omit that, I could basically recommend it. But because there's a talking dinosaur in it for no reason, it ruins it enough that I can't recommend it in its current state. It needs to have a once-over for grammar and all that. Like we said, the names change to their proper names. I don't know if something has to change in regards to the spirits taking over the display dinosaurs or not. Because
again, like we said, if that's the case, if suddenly the skeletons are missing and there's now these dinosaurs, then we have to assume that the spirits have manifested into the skeletons on display and fleshed them out with their ectoplasm to make actual bodies.
Yeah, but does it matter that that's not actually their bones?
Well, again, like the movie or the movie Night at the Museum, they aren't there's not there's there's just statuaries and stuff that come to life. So they just basically the magic has animated them. So. Mm-hmm.
So, the bones could be miles away. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Or, maybe the spirits came from the bones in the back and then just went into... But because they aren't complete, they couldn't manifest properly.
Yeah.
So they found a simulacrum that could manifest properly. Like a simulacrus foci.
Yeah. So that part doesn't bug me too much. But, yeah. Once over for grammar. And the talking dinosaur has to go away.
You just can't stand... It was too funny for you.
It is. It either has to be him... in his last moments of life being like, well, I guess I should have listened to the old black man, and then there's a replay in his head of what he said. Or have the guy standing in the doorway being like, I told you. And then...
yeah.
Then it would be good.
Maybe even he's a spirit, because it's been a couple of years, so the old man's died, so it's just the spirit of the old man, partially transparent or partially corporeal at the door. Just I told you, Sonny.
Yeah, he floated over here, and then he got the names of all the dinosaurs, and then he had to go see where they are in the spirit realm and go find them and bring them all back here to get their vengeance.
Yep.
No. It is the real reason the dinosaurs showed up is because they got their names wrong. That they were so annoyed.
That's not how you say our names that you gave us.
Because that's how you do a punching motion for a dinosaur.
Well, that's the other thing. They didn't get the names right for names of dinosaurs that we gave the dinosaurs. That's not their name.
Oh, that's true.
That's not their name.
So every dinosaur would be mad.
Yeah.
Because a T-Rex is like, I'm not a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I'm actually a Capollo.
My name is George.
No, my name is Jerry. And I wear a yellow sombrero.
Oh, yeah. Why Jerry specifically? Why'd you have to correct me? My stupid name I picked.
Shit.
So I long and short of it, I like 90% of it.
Okay.
If you just read that 90%, it's recommended. The ending ruined it for me. And if you're like me, then that will ruin it for you as well.
That's fair.
So stop when he dies, essentially.
So stop it.
Actually, you have to stop before he dies, because he talks to him.
Yeah.
He gets tackled to the ground, and then he's dead. Just done.
Really, just have him when he goes to hide again, right before the second chase scene. That was the other thing. At the end, there was kind of two kind of chase sequences, one after the other, that just seemed kind of repetitive.
Nothing really was said in them. It's just I ran away from it,
and then I got caught again, so I started running away from it.
Yeah,
it's that's what I mean. It almost just because nothing is said and it's just the same thing. It's just almost on repeat.
Each of those running segments could be an entire paragraph of describing what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tripping over things, hiding behind things. It eating some of the statues and shit.
Yeah.
Trying to get them. Yeah. It could be fleshed out more. Long and short.
Yeah.
Yeah. So end where his spine gets crushed.
Yes. And I died. Finn.
And I died. See ya.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, because I was actually thinking about this, because actually, to your point, it's weird how, it goes from his point of view to then suddenly a third-person narrator.
You thought it was weird.
No, I thought it was fine because it was a ghost thing.
I'm fine with it switching, I just wanted to be clear.
Okay, no, but
clear that switch.
A novel that has done that actually decently is actually Lost World,
Mm-hmm.
where a character is getting, like, basically getting eaten by a raptor. And you basically, we're watching him get eaten by a raptor, like, his thought processes of the whole fact, because the raptor's, like, claw dug into his spine, so now he's paralyzed. And then he's just thinking about all the weird, like, how he doesn't feel the raptor ripping into him, and, like, he doesn't feel the teeth about, like, the crunch into his mouth, into his head, and then suddenly there's a pressure, and then it cuts away to another person on, like, somewhere nearby that's watching this horrific scene and seeing the guy getting eaten. That's how that story kind of switches angles.
And if it took inspiration from that,
Like,
switch out to the old man standing in the freaking doorway.
Yeah,
You're like,
that would work. Yeah.
done?
Yeah. Also, like,
Let's go, homies, we're out of here.
it's like, let the good times roll. Just cuts to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're also on iTunes. Leave us a rating and review. Help us spread like a virus, and let us know how we're doing. You can also get a hold of us on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name is too damn long.
Out of necessity.
And then I'm at Review Cultist. If you'd like to go send us an email, you can go to aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss in the show. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, extra episodes, and early access. And thank you to our patrons that are already helping support the show, because, as always, you're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely. Despite the fact that we've ripped into your story like multiple times in throughout our show, if you weren't writing these stories and if you weren't listening to our show, we probably wouldn't have much of a show. Mm-hmm. And we don't do this out of hate; we do this out of love. Yeah, because we love creepy stories. We like to see them be improved. That's why we do the show. So
despite all the negatives that we said about this, I think we all enjoyed it to a certain extent.
Yeah, we generally do find something that appeals to us in a story. We like the concept of this one; it just wasn't executed that well. Mm-hmm. So, if the person who wrote this is listening, don't take this to offense. We never intend for that to be the case. Even the ones like Spyro.exe, at least somebody had the courage to put something out there.
Yeah.
Thank you for writing these stories, guys. Because it's been endless entertainment for me, at least. And then I just kind of drag these guys along.
I've been learning a lot, though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's neat.
That's good. That's Nietzsche right there.
Is it?
Maybe.
All right. If I'm learning about things outside,
yeah,
then that's Nietzsche.
But I mean, proto-dinosaurs and whatnot are Nietzsche.
Yes, they are.
You did learn what that gopher dinosaur looks like.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because that's exactly how it looks like.
Clearly, yeah. Anyway, so thank you guys out there listening to our show and writing these stories. You're awesome. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for you.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.